Welcome everybody. Welcome Ethan. Welcome Jacques. Jacques is going to do a presentation to us. There are some legal aid presentations right here if you guys want some. So I am going to give you the floor and tell us what's going on and why you're here.
Great, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to Brooklyn Community Board of Economic Development Community Meeting. My name is Jacques David. I'm a staff attorney in the Community Development Project at the Legal Aid Society. I work out of our Harlem Community Law Office, but my particular project is actually citywide. So we work in all the 5 boroughs, and what the Community Development Project offers is essential transactional legal services to assist small businesses, not-for-profits, and affordable housing cooperatives, or HDFCs. They have lots of different names: limited equity cooperatives. Some people refer to them as low-income cooperatives. That's typical. I don't like to use that term, but affordable housing cooperatives. These are essentially tenant associations in tenant-owned buildings that want to convert their building to a cooperative. My presentation, I'm going to talk a little more specifically about what we do in each of those areas. And I remember I had this conversation with Dante about transactional legal services. Lawyers will from time to time assume that everybody knows their jargon. And by transactional, we really mean it's distinguished from litigation. And so almost any need that a small business or the tenants of that want to form an affordable housing cooperative, which is a corporation, that's what it is, or a not-for-profit, almost any legal need that they might have outside of litigation, we can handle in our community development project. And the reason that we do this work is to promote grassroots community development in the communities where our other clients come from, where our criminal defense clients come from, where our tenant defense clients come from, where our education law clients come from, where our matrimonial law clients come from, where our public benefits clients come from. And so my project is it's unique in that we don't do as much litigation as a lot of our other colleagues do. But again, the idea is that we want to promote grassroots community development. And I'll touch upon this also in my presentation. The other way that we frame the work that we do is really about remedying the racial wealth gap. And so in each of these areas, in the assistance that we provide to small business owners and those who are looking to start micro enterprises or ventures, the assistance we provide to existing not-for-profits and associations that want to form a not-for-profit, and the assistance we provide to tenants who want to convert their building to a cooperative, right? All that work is really aimed at mediating the racial wealth gap. And so I'll just start. As I said, on the first, I guess the page 3, the third slide, I've already kind of introduced our works with small businesses, affordable housing cooperatives, and not-for-profits. And I'll start just generally and talk a little bit about the small business community in New York. And I'm sure you know this, but the economic impact of small businesses in the city is tremendous, right? Around the country, there are about 32 billion small businesses. In New York State, they actually make up over 99% of the businesses in the state, right? We think that Wall Street and the big Fortune 500 companies are typical of businesses in the state, but it's actually small businesses, right? The backbone of the business community is small business. That's true across the country. It's true here in New York as well. And there are about 65,000 minority-owned small businesses in the city. And the way we support those enterprises or the individuals who are looking to either start or who are already operating those enterprises is wide and varied. We can assist in terms of selecting the right business structure, whether that be an LLC or an S corp. We can draft the formational documents and also governance documents, operating agreements for small business owners. We assist in drafting standard form contracts and any other sort of operational agreement that the business might need. We do a lot of commercial lease review. That's a big need for our small business clients. And what we would really prefer is that they come to us before they sign a lease, with a personal guarantee in their own name, and everything goes south. What we really want is to meet clients before they sign the lease. Every client has an idea about a space that they see that this is the best place for my business until they sign it, and then they realize there's an internal leak. And then the question is, I've got property damages. Can I stop paying the rent? You can't. Those typical commercial leases, and so we really, really would like it that our clients come to us so that we can help them review the lease, so they can understand their rights and obligations under the one proposed by the landlord, have an opportunity to maybe propose provisions that are favorable to the business owner. We do work around intellectual property also. I'm not, my colleagues, we are not IP lawyers, but at the Legal Aid Society we have a lot of Wall Street and Midtown law firms on our board, and they are our pro bono partners. And so almost any sort of niche need that a client might have, we can meet that need. That might be trademark or copyright. It's typically trademark. I've done a fair amount of assisting clients marking or getting protection for marks that they have. We have on one occasion even assisted a client with a patent registration. That's not all that common, so we can do that. Oh, no worries. Financing is an issue that we have historically not done a lot around, but during the pandemic, it was sort of a critical need for Black and brown small businesses, immigrant small businesses started by new arrivals. During the pandemic, the government decided that they would distribute much of the PPP money and EIDL loans through mainline banks. Our clients don't bank at Chase or Citibank. They bank at minority depository institutions or community development institutions like the Lower East Side People's Federal Credit Union. They bank at smaller community banks, and the federal government decided to bypass those banks and funnel most of the money through the Citibanks and Wells Fargo and Bank of America, and our clients suffered. There are a lot of Black and brown Asian small businesses that went under during the pandemic, and so we understand that it's important for our organization to start thinking about how we advocate for equity and financing for the small businesses in our communities, and how we can help small businesses learn about the opportunities that exist. They're not great, but we think that we can and should be sort of a place that people come to learn about the opportunities for financing. So those are the ways that we work with small businesses. I talked a little bit about affordable housing cooperatives, and there are a lot of benefits. Before I started in this work as a community development lawyer, I've been at Legal Aid for almost 20 years, and half of that time was spent as a tenant defense attorney right here in Brooklyn. My office was right down on Livingston Street, like a block from Housing Court. So I spent 10 years representing um, um, low-income tenants in the city. And the ability to convert your building to an affordable housing cooperative, it creates home ownership opportunities. And generally at the cost of about $2,500, right? That's the purchase price for a tenant who wants to purchase and become a shareholder in the corporation, in the housing corporation. And along with providing home ownership opportunities, the work we do around creating HDFCs improves the housing stock, right? Because as part of the process, almost all of the buildings that we assist to convert are given a substantial rehab. That's part of the process. And so most of the buildings that come through our unit for cooperative conversion are in disrepair, and the landlord has generally abandoned the building, right? There, water taxes that haven't been paid. There, a plethora of violations, HPD, DOB violations, and so the city, through the legislature, has created a path for buildings where tenants are interested in essentially creating an equity stake in their housing. And again, as part of this process, the buildings are substantially rehabbed. And we keep them affordable through income limits and sales price restrictions. And the things that we do around housing cooperatives, it typically involves the drafting of the regulatory agreements and the cooperative conversion documents that have to be submitted to the Attorney General's office for approval. The drafting of bylaws. What our tenants, one of the things we do is there's an education piece, because our tenants, they understand that when we create the cooperative, I'm no longer I'm a tenant, but I'm also a shareholder. But you're a shareholder in an entity that's a corporation in every way that a corporation exists. And so the corporation has to have a board. The board has to have officers. The directors and officers have to understand their fiduciary duties to the corporation, right? And so there's this education piece that we do. We can also help with the drafting of proprietary leases, because again, the residents, they own shares in the corporation, right? No one gets a deed, so they don't have an interest in real property. They have an interest in personal property, so they get shares. But they are also tenants of the corporation, and so every resident has to sign a proprietary lease, and we help with the drafting of that, and also with the to assure that the tenants understand the rights and duties and obligations under the proprietary lease. We provide guidance around regulatory compliance. But again, the board's responsibility is going to be to assure that the housing corporation is compliant with all state, local laws, and there are a lot of local laws. And we provide advice and counsel around best practices with respect to the financial health of the corporation. The third area that I spoke of are not-for-profits, and that's kind of an area that the small businesses are really kind of the bread and butter for our unit, and the work that I am really drawn to, but I'm also drawn to work assisting not-for-profits. I think the impact of not-for-profits in our community is kind of not-for-profits kind of exist in the shadows, even though the impact is outsized, right? Not-for-profits contributes $77 billion to the New York City economy, right? That's about 10% of New York City's GDP. And there are 662,000 workers at not-for-profits in New York City, mostly in Brooklyn and Manhattan. That's where the not-for-profits are centered, mostly in Brooklyn and Manhattan, the vast majority of them. And in that number, about 65% of the workers at not-for-profit identify as women, and about 55% identify as people of color. Okay, and so the not-for-profit sector is probably the largest employer of women in the city and people of color. I mean, percentage-wise. And they make up about 5% of all corporations in the city. The other thing about not-for-profits that I think kind of goes unnoticed is that not-for-profit organizations are anchors in the communities that I work in. And by that I mean they are centers where people can come to build place-based power, right? One of the not-for-profits that I'm working with right now is in the New York Times about a year or two ago. It's the United Order of Tents. It's in Bed-Stuy on McDonough, 87 McDonough. This is an organization that the founders of the national organization were two formerly enslaved women. And so the organization actually has its roots going back to Reconstruction. The Brooklyn chapter, they call them tents, but the Brooklyn chapter was founded in around 1938, and the women, black women, bought a brownstone in Central Bed. It's not a brownstone, it's a mansion actually, in Central Bed-Stuy. I don't know how they managed to do that, and they've owned it for 75 years. The reason we were in the New York Times is because we're in the middle of a dispute with the Department of Finance over the property taxes that they can continue to levy, even though my client is a bona fide 501c3 not-for-profit. That dispute we've resolved, but all through my advocacy and my fight, it was clear to me and my client and all the stakeholders that if these women lost this property, which represents intergenerational black wealth, if they lose this property, there will be a condominium on their lot. Okay, and so it is really important to preserve the space that not-for-profits possess and hold and occupy, because again they represent centers for mutual aid and for the building of place-based power. And so that work really animates me. I'm also representing the Friends of Abolitionist Place, which is on Duffield, 227 Duffield. In that house, right on downtown Brooklyn, right on the Fulton Mall. That house was the residence of two abolitionists, well-known abolitionists, and it was believed that the abolitionists, Peter and Harriet Truesdale, that they used their home to harbor enslaved African Americans. We have to remember that downtown Brooklyn and Brooklyn Heights was like the epicenter it was basically one of the terminal points on the Underground Railroad, and it was a hotbed for abolitionism. The city was determined to tear that house down, to demolish it, and grassroots activists from Fury, Families United for Racial and Economic Equality, for more than a decade, they said, "You will not." And during the Summer of Resistance, the Landmark Preservation Commission finally decided that they would grant LPC status, landmark status. I think the optics just didn't look good to demolish a building like during the Summer of Resistance. And so the Friends of Abolitionist Place, which they were kind of the spearhead for a lot of the advocacy to save this building, I represent them. They want to work with the city the city is trying to develop Abolitionist Place Park, which is not too far from 227 Duffield, and I'm working with them they just formed the not-for-profit, working with them on some governance and I will probably assist them with the negotiations to obtain ownership. The city right now has ownership of the property. In Harlem, I represent a not-for-profit, the New Amsterdam Musical Association, NAMA. They own a brownstone on 130th and 130th Street in West Harlem. Black musicians could not perform in New York City in 1907, around that time when NAMA was founded, because the white musical union wouldn't allow them to join. And if you didn't have a music card, if you didn't have a union card, you couldn't perform. And so black musicians formed their own union. They bought this brownstone. There, you know, it was the place where lots of well-known musicians, Count Basie, James Noble Reese, John Coltrane, many musicians woodshed it there. They practiced there before they did shows, say like at the Cotton Club. And so NAMA has owned the brownstone now for over 100 years, but the DOB issued a violation, and so you know they were at one point in time at risk of losing their property into generational wealth, and I'm representing NAMA as well. And I mention these organizations because in every community there are organizations like these, cultural heritage institutions, and they're not only you know, African American, they're Asian American, they're immigrant cultural heritage institutions. Again, they are anchors, and if we're talking about community development and balanced community development, when Dante and when I got here a little early, and we were talking about just how some people's perceptions of development is just it's all bad. There's good community development and there is bad community development, but what we want is balanced community development, and there's a space for not-for-profits. So I enjoy that work. And I'll just, you know, some of the things we do with our not-for-profit clients, not that different from our small business clients. It's incorporation, tax exemption, working with the AG's office around regulatory compliance, governance, real estate matters, intellectual property. On page 11, these are some of the agencies and forums that we practice in, or you know, are on the other side of, like, you know, when we're representing our clients, the IRS, the New York State Department of State, the Attorney General's Office, Division of Taxation, Department of Labor. Who could be our client? Most people, again, they know us because of our work with very low-income people. And our small business clients and our not-for-profits, these are entities or individuals that have income and assets. And so they can typically, the income levels for our small business clients is quite a bit higher than it would be for a housing law client. And so I think what I want to leave you with is that you know, no one should decide that they're not eligible. We want to have the conversation with them, and there are always exceptions to the rules around eligibility. And the last page just includes just a note about our virtual clinic. It's the third Wednesday of every month. This is the QR code and the tiny URL, and we've it's I'm sorry, page 13 might be.
Yeah, it's
I'm
right there.
That's good.
Yeah, it's like the third page.
It's definitely 13.
Yeah,
Page
and
numbers
I actually
says it.
Oh, yeah.
actually have
Yeah.
I have just some information about our virtual clinic.
Yeah.
Everybody that URL takes you directly to the application for the clinic. You just fill out some very basic information, and you automatically get an appointment to speak with an attorney. And so I would really love it if you would. I know there's a lot of flyering, and everybody has a bulletin.
Everybody's got a flyer.
Yeah. But we found that the clinic is really a great way for people to know that that we exist and that and to make contact with an attorney.
Wow.
Okay, so I mean, is your clinic at your location? I mean, I guess on your, I mean, Rogers Avenue, right? That's your.
So the legal aid side, we have offices in every borough. We have a neighborhood office in every borough. The Brooklyn neighborhood office is at 111 Livingston Street in downtown Brooklyn, Livingston and Court. My office, I work out of the Harlem Community Law Office. I live in Brooklyn. That's also why I'm really excited to be here tonight. I'm taking my roadshow to as many of the community boards in Brooklyn as I can. But Dante was one of the first to reach out when I sent kind of an introductory letter. And so I live in Brooklyn, and the work that I do, it's we've historically done it uptown because that's where the office for my unit is. But we are citywide, and so I'm looking to really meet and speak with people on the economic development committees at as many of the community boards here in Brooklyn, and to offer myself and my unit and my organization as a resource to the small businesses in your districts. Okay? And so to answer your question, my office is in Harlem, but I worked out of our Brooklyn office today, and I frequently work out of our Brooklyn office. Dante asked me, do you have an office in Crown Heights, Bed-Stuy? We don't, but we have an office in East New York, and I've worked out of that office. And so, and then when it comes to direct client representation, this is true of every legal aid attorney. We meet our clients where they are, and so, if the client can't come to me, I'm not gonna ask the client to schlep all the way up to Harlem. It's not necessary. I'll come to the client.
And then also, I mean, it's free of charge, right?
Yes.
So, where does Canada funding from? From the city, from state, or just
From grants.
from grant?
Right.
I wish I knew that this existed. I'm actually I'm a small business owner. I'm trying to start a nonprofit for my block, my area. So yeah, that's
Good.
Yes. You can.
This is good.
You can email me directly.
What's your name? I need your card.
It's on the second page.
Yes. It didn't. I don't know if it.
It's all messed up, but it's in
Yeah,
there.
it's
right
in the
here.
package.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you said that, like, as far as like grants and stuff for minorities, like I noticed like it comes through with the big banks and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, around financing, really, what I kind of urged my colleagues to think about, we don't have access to financing, and so small business owners frequently will call and say, do you know any loans or grants that are available to me? And to be honest, I know what they know, the Small Business Administration. Are there, whatever, New York City Small Business Services. I don't think they even offer much in the way of loans, but that's what I know. What we should be doing, though, is advocating for financing, for credit. The reality is that, in the same way that Black and brown people were locked out of financing for home ownership, the same happens with small business financing. And again, it was highlighted and illustrated during the pandemic. I can't tell you how many of my clients ended up filing PPP applications or EID applications through PayPal, right? Because they have a personal bank account at Citibank, but Citibank they can't open a business bank account. They're not eligible and so they don't have a business bank account. They all went to the cities and the Chases because they thought the Secretary of Commerce said, go to Chase, go to Citi. They went there and Citi and Chase said, we can't help you. You don't. And so they used platforms like PayPal, which was really inequitable. And I think some of that changed with the new administration. I think when the new administration came in, they understood the importance of getting funds. If you're really intent on providing an anchor to businesses in Harlem and Brownsville and East New York and Jamaica, Queens, like you got to get the funds to the institutions where they bank.
Right.
They knew this, but and so that's really what we should be doing, advocating for that.
I don't want to like go too off topic here, but you know what I don't understand, like, you know, like how, like, why is it so hard for like Black and brown communities to get like funding and like support and things like that? And then it's like, you look at like the Jewish community, for example, like just like thriving, like what, like, why is that? That's probably like a whole deep thing though,
Yeah, I
right?
think we should stay on topic right now because we have a lot of stuff to go over.
The one thing I will
Yeah.
say in answer to your question, I'll be brief, is that, again, it goes back to the point I made initially that the work that we do is about remedying the racial wealth gap. And so
Okay.
to answer your question,
Yeah.
what we see in the present, like, it wasn't created in the ether, right? And I know that some people like to imagine that, like, when we walk up and down the avenues, like what we see, it just happened this way. No, there's a historical context, right? And I think we are trying to tie our work, we're trying to amplify the context and the history, right? I don't think you can advocate for things like equity in financing and affordable housing without understanding sort of the failure of Reconstruction, for example, right? And so we're trying to amplify that context and tie it to the problems that our clients see in their communities, right? And to use that as the way to propose and fight for the remedies that they want and need.
So we have a small business breakfast coming up, and if you are interested, you can't present for this long. You can present
No
for
worries.
like 3 minutes.
No, yes.
Not very good.
But-
No, it was interesting.
But it would be interesting for people to know that
Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
exist because
Very nice.
we're all going to be in one room, and you can tell everybody briefly what kind of services you guys offer.
No
That'd
worries,
be
no
great.
worries, yeah.
Okay, I'll email you after and we can connect and
For
talk
sure.
about timing and stuff. But the
I mean, this
date
would be
is
great.
there, June 4th.
I mean,
So if you can come, that'd be great.
No worries, thank you.
Yeah.
You have a June 12th I see here, so honestly having this little
Yeah,
flyer like
with
this
the-
with
That's the
QR
virtual clinic.
code
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
everything.
and we're gonna be updating that. That was for the, about 2 or 3 months and
Oh,
as
yeah.
we move further.
So this is a nice recap of.
Yeah.
So thank you all for
Great.
sharing your time with me.
Thanks.
And I look forward to a partnership.
Yeah.
I really wanna work with you all, and I'll stay in touch with Dante.
Yeah, me too.
And-
I'm gonna reach
Yeah.
out.
Yes.
For my own
Thank you
personal-
for coming to this.
Yes.
Appreciate you coming.
Yes.
Well, what
Yeah.
I'm why I'm not renewing my community board thing is I'm doing more work like to try to bridge the gap. So,
Great. Thank you all.
Great,
thank
thanks.
you.
And you're welcome to stay or you can leave because we're actually gonna be talking about the event coming up.
I'll stay in to hear a little bit. I may
Okay.
have to
Cool.
to take off
Yeah,
just a
yeah,
little bit, but I like to.
Great. Wonderful. So we got the $300 at the meeting last month, so that's good. Kind of flew by at the last 30 seconds of the meeting. Nobody cared. That was great. Flyer distribution. Everybody want to tell me how it's going? We have this event for everybody who doesn't know. There's the flyer. We have a small business breakfast event, and we all have a map, and we've been flyering the neighborhood depending on what area is our expertise.
Well,
You want to
I
start?
can start.
Yeah.
I did start Utica Avenue. Bright and shiny, like early in the morning, and it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
And I noticed certain patterns, which I noted down. who would be most interested, not interested. You gotta talk to the owner, maybe the owners are not there at that time. But some people were like, you know, if they couldn't go, it's like, well, you can tell me some of the issues that you're having, and then I can relay that to the board. And they had comments. A lot was about security. One person really was like, people don't have a lot of money these days to spend in the shop, so he was worried in that respect. But I went through, I guess, the western side from Empire to Eastern Parkway.
Mm-hmm.
Took me like 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
I believe there's a ton like
I didn't, you know, I
and then
walk
even
that all the time.
talking.
It's like, that was a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, I have to revisit how I go out and do that because I was tired.
I mean, I'll go next. I hadn't gone out yet. I know I needed to pick up my little stack. As every time I was out, I was like, yeah, this is coming. So now, like, after hearing your perspective, yeah, I'm gonna like figure out my tactic. Definitely was gonna take advantage of the weekend because I don't really have any plans for the weekend. Just to,
Yes.
although I don't know, it might be a mix. Did you go? You went morning. Is mornings best for you? And did you go during the day of the week?
I went
weekday?
on the weekend because
Okay.
I am in the office mostly now.
Got it. Okay, so
So,
maybe I'll try.
So I said, okay, I'm gonna start
Explore that.
on a Saturday, Utica. But I think I'm gonna have to, like, on my way home, do evenings. To say, okay, I'll do this block.
Maybe I'll try
Next day,
to
this block.
It's like
squeeze
different
in the week.
hours. And
Maybe
they
I'll try the
have-
weekday because I work from home for the most part, so it's just,
Oh,
yeah, I can slip out. Okay.
Yeah. But for Kingston, they have more businesses. That's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah.
And I really wasn't there saying, you know, catering to them, say, please, scan this now, fill this out. That would even take even longer.
Oh man, I feel the same way.
So, but I just wanted to give a little blurb, like what we're trying to do, you know, there's no pressure, but if you can't make it, you just let me know. I tried to get as many email addresses, phone numbers as best I could. So,
That's awesome. Yeah.
For me, I did like church. I'm in two parts. I mean, I did at night, so I probably posted all over the street first at night, like 4 or 5 a.m. So I went to the bank, so where the business people goes. So I put a flag on the bank. I started for one on Eastern Parkway, the bank, like a new one. So I went down. Now I did also chase down on Empire. And then I put a poster everywhere, and then I went to the store. I mean, this actually it's pretty short. Actually, it's not true. I mean, I thought that CB9 was going longer than that. No, actually. So I did a poster. I did already Nordstrom and Rogers. So I'm still missing 2 more shops. But I do at night time. It's posted everywhere, and then people can just scan it with their phone. You can see it. And then the store, there's not that many, businesses already on that side. It's gonna be like, I mean, there's not much going on here. But I target the banks mostly because people go to the bank, but then I see the flyer, business flyer, scan it. So I did both banks, or was like rural. For laundromat, because there's only laundromat in that belt, 1 or 2, so I put on laundromat also. So I still have two more switches. So far so good. I mean, I was very sick also. But I did at 4 in the morning.
Alright, I did most of Flatbush. Probably like, I don't know, until the top part, and then I kind of like faded. I was like, I can't do it anymore. But people were like, okay, so should I put the flyer up? And And I'm like, you can put the flyer up, but like the point is for you to come to the event. Like when I was talking to business owners, like people who were shy and maybe like not so outgoing were like, I don't know. And I'm like, it's a Tuesday morning, like you literally have nothing going on. They're like,
Right.
you're right.
Right.
Pull on a suit.
You're right, like
We're all
I
worried
don't
about
have
that.
anything going on. I'm like, you don't, it's not even a heavy lift, like you just have to like say hi and sip a cup of coffee. So there were a few people who were like that, there were a few people who were like, I'll just put it up. And then it took like so much legwork that I was like, I'm just gonna DM people. And so I went through and I just like messaged and it was very effective actually. But I found that you had to send the flyer, write a message, and then follow up with the link because they can't scan the code
Right.
when they're on their phone. So you like have
Okay.
to also send the link. So I felt like that was effective though, because like I do have some RSVPs from just like DMing people on Instagram. And yeah, that was
One thing,
Yeah.
I went into a beauty salon and all the women were there like, owner's not here, we don't want anything to do with
Yeah.
you, anything. And as I was saying, here's a flyer, just, you can give it to them and if they're interested, they can come. And there was a lady sitting in the chair, she's like, can you say that again? She was the manager of the bank of Eastern Park, where she was like, I see a whole bunch of small businesses, can I take a flyer?
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what the bank's
Oh,
supposed to
yeah.
do.
yeah.
So she might come.
Okay,
You
cool.
know,
The Popular Bank?
Okay.
No,
Okay.
Trace.
Oh, Shakima.
No, this is another one.
Oh, okay, here we go.
No, not
No,
here
but-
on Utica.
Oh, on Utica.
On
Okay,
Utica.
okay. I don't know that person.
Is that one done?
You know, maybe I'll start out. I'll figure out maybe Kingston, cause also Saturdays is out.
Yeah, you can't.
So like that's
and we
bad.
can't do
Mondays?
Friday afternoon.
I mean,
Yeah,
early
Friday,
morning is hit or miss. I
Yeah.
feel like that's
yeah,
if they're
people maybe
open.
like 10-ish, 11.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but people were like, cool. Okay, so that's flyer distribution, and we do have this RSVP list. It's a small list, but we're getting there.
What's the capacity of
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Jen, I can ask her.
Yeah, because then it, if it looks
Yeah.
full but not, so
There
maybe
is
we get a good
Saturday,
number.
you're gonna swamp people.
Great
There's
that out.
outdoor too, so we
Okay.
could like
And it'll probably be slow.
You have more,
I would tell you if
more
you
flyers?
change your mind, you
I
must
can print more.
scan the
We'll
QR
try to
code and sign.
Take those.
yeah. I was like,
Those are
if
yours.
you,
Oh,
I was
that's
trying to
yours.
get people to
Okay.
scan it, so I was like, we'll send you a reminder email, so you don't even have to think about it, right? Can we send them a reminder email? Okay, cool. I told them that we would, so whatever. Anyway, good news though, we did get free coffee from Brooklyn Perk. So
Nice.
yeah, he said it stays hot for like 2.5 hours. So if we get it at like 8:30, we should be good, or 8. And he just wanted to know for how many, and I was like, good question. We don't know. So I'm sure it'll be fine if we just tell him right before. So now we have more money for food.
Nice.
That's good.
But question, like, how does the money work for the food? Like, do we have to use specific vendors? Like, what is the city situation like?
We're gonna have to use a government credit card.
Okay, but we can use any vendor. It doesn't have to be like registered with the city.
We're okay.
Okay, cool. That makes that easier. Okay, do we want to talk about run of show and if we want to seek out any more speakers?
So
So
we have confirmed now.
right now we have Connor confirmed, who is from Bridge Street.
And we have Jack.
Yep, we have Jacques.
Perfect.
Yeah, that.
Perfect.
We have Jonathan from the Chamber of Commerce.
That's what you mean with him.
Yeah, he's good. And then we had that guy who wanted to speak from the Nostrand Avenue. What's his name? You guys remember?
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
on
yeah,
a
from
phone
the-
I
call.
can't remember the name, but yeah.
Yeah, Jason
Johnson.
Rockingster. So I can follow up with him, see if he still wants to talk. But do we wanna, is there anyone else we wanna ask? Like, I was thinking like maybe I could ask Sarana, who's our district leader, because she's like pretty active and an easy person to get in contact with if you need help. So maybe Sarana would be good.
Did any other representatives?
Yeah, like pharmacy or from country.
Rita said that she was coming, like Rita Joseph, sorry, Councilwoman, so I could ask if she wanted to speak. I'm sure she would want to speak.
I would allot some time just in case.
Yeah.
So how much time are we gonna block out for? So we have 2 hours. Obviously, like there's gonna be some lingering it. You get in, and there's that buffer time at the beginning and the end, and then,
Right.
so
So if it starts at 9,
because then they could actually have a decent amount of obviously not like politician length speak, but enough to really understand what their role is or what they do, and then so police people have enough information context to follow up and talk to them during
yeah,
the
later.
engagement.
Well,
20, 25.
how long should we give people to get there? What do you guys think?
This morning.
I know.
Yeah.
And everyone's always late.
Yeah,
How long is the night ago?
It's from 9 to 11.
Yeah.
I would say give them like 10 minutes.
Yeah, usually
20
they give the
minutes?
buffer around that.
I
Around.
think that
Yeah.
buffer is people are networking and having coffee.
Yeah, you have the
Yeah.
coffee and the
Yes.
and then a little bit at the end.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
nice.
Okay, so 9 to 9:20, everyone arrives. And then say like 9:20 to 9:30, we can tell them about the community board, like what the map is of our area, when we meet, what the economic development committee does, that they're welcome to our meetings, that they're welcome to apply for the community board, especially if they have things to say, that they're welcome, like to come to this, whatever, to the public commentary. Just like explaining the community board and then introducing ourselves, that should take like 10 minutes, right? So we're at like 9:30, 15 minutes? Yeah?
Probably
Maybe
10.
20.
Probably.
10?
Yeah.
A little faster, 20.
20 you think it'll take
Yeah,
us?
yeah.
Well, I imagine like
I mean, even 20 minutes, I think so.
It'll be slower than you expect, probably 20.
Yeah,
Maybe
20
even
minutes.
30.
You want to be out last year,
I
yeah.
because if you say
I know.
9:20, tell people, hey, go take your seat or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a 10. So we're probably gonna start at 9:30, and then we have
Yeah.
30 minutes. So then 20.
Mm.
Worst case scenario, we
We
move
end
a little
earlier.
faster than and they get their time back. Worst case
Dante, you
scenario.
wanna speak, right?
Yeah,
about
yeah, a
the
little
community
bit.
board?
I feel like 9:15 is the buffer.
Okay,
9:15 to 9:20, that's the 5 minutes you get to your seat.
Okay.
We've announced, and I feel like 20 to 30, 10 minutes should be more than enough to speak about the board. It'll take me all of 3 to 4 minutes to say what I need to say.
Thank you.
yeah, I think so. 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. The reality is I can't say too much if the elected official is there because they're going to want to one up. They're going to want to speak more.
Uh-huh.
Right. Okay.
They're
But they
gonna
might
speak
be
more.
late.
Right, and if one comes, you should fully expect that if they call, another elected official might want to know if another is there.
Right.
They're going to show up.
Mm.
So we should probably allot time. for
Use
that.
that also, be like,
We can guide
Yeah,
them.
because once they know somebody's there,
yeah, it's
Yeah.
better for them. Okay, so we're at 9:30, and then I would like everybody to introduce themselves in the room, so we can go through, everybody can give their elevator pitch of like 1 to 3 minutes, should we say, for the businesses. Which should, I feel like we should tell them, okay, we'd like you guys all to introduce yourselves, tell where your business is located, what kinds of, whatever,
Yeah, what
things
you
you're
guys
excited about, what kind of things you're working on, and then go around the room and people sort of introduce themselves and say, whatever they want to say. But maybe we should tell them that we should limit it to a couple minutes
Yeah, I think limited to specific things we're asking.
Yeah.
Because you know how it goes.
Yeah.
It's like, if you don't
Yeah.
wanna.
Yeah, give people like a blueprint
Yeah.
of
Or
like,
what to talk about?
exactly.
Yeah, it should
Okay.
be four
Every
sides.
time limit, so they're not just like
Yeah.
your
Business,
like,
What
Okay,
you're
yeah,
talking about,
type
what
of
you're doing.
business.
time and
I would.
4 bullet points.
I almost want to stay away from like the like submit it in a form if you have like
Yeah.
insights
who
because
are
it can
you?
go.
What do you provide?
Okay, so we want to know who they are, where they're located.
And what we're doing, and
How
then
long
what,
have you been in business?
yeah,
Yeah.
I know we've been in the neighborhood, and then what problem, what
I don't know
difficulty
who
we're
you serve,
encountering,
maybe.
and then what, I mean, how can
Oh
we
yeah,
help
that's good.
you?
Who do you serve is a good question.
Yeah.
Like who's your customer?
Like Target, yeah.
Yeah, who's your
Yeah.
target?
And then
Yeah.
what
Or like what's-
difficulty that you
Do you have a target?
encounter, yeah?
Well, that's what
Yeah,
I
I
was
can
saying.
help you.
That's what I was saying. Well, if anything,
It doesn't really matter who their target audience
No, it
is.
doesn't.
That's right,
Yeah.
she decides to
Like
Yeah.
everyone
Everyone should
would be
be.
their target
Yeah.
audience, I would hope.
Otherwise it can be like.
Yeah.
I think that could get
No.
very.
It could be like a younger crowd.
Yeah,
no,
older
'cause if you
people,
have-
could be
If you have a
kids.
boat, if you have like a lounge, if you have a like normally in any business, you have usually your main target audience.
Yeah.
Obviously, anybody can come, but usually your marketing, you have an aesthetic, and you know your customer. Like they are the millennial, whatever.
But like, why do we
Well,
need
well,
that information?
Well,
Yeah.
I think maybe it's the term target audience. Maybe it's what's who's your customer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is the
yeah,
best
was,
way I think to say
yeah,
it.
yeah,
You can
maybe.
say it, but
Target.
literally the
But like, I
business.
think we're more concerned about
definition.
like
That's how you phrase things too.
Yeah,
economic
right.
development, right? So like
Yeah.
sticking on like what's like your hardest or biggest challenge?
Yeah,
But
well,
I would challenge that question around customer target, however you want to call it, business term. It is target. It is about like learning, like how can you support each other? Maybe the people who are talking, you can collaborate. You can do all sorts of things. So I think it is a very relevant question to what we're doing because if they need more traffic, they can partner. Whatever creative thing they want to do, but hey, yeah, cater to blah 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 generally, or these are the type of people who show up, yada yada. That's just.
I think it's valid. It's
Typical
something that they-
clientele patrons.
I mean that.
Yeah, with the man.
I'm trying to keep
I
it
mean,
very
as-
broad so we
so-
don't get sued.
Yeah.
As a business
What's
owner,
your
like
target?
filling out applications, all that. That's
Yeah.
I've been asked that question several
Yeah.
times. Like, what's your target audience?
You can say
Whatever.
who are
however
you
you
know
wanna phrase it.
customers or whatever. Who do you
Describe your
serve?
target market
That's
perhaps.
interesting.
Yeah.
I often have them describe it because people don't actually say who they are. But
You know.
if we have them describe the type of customer they're going after,
I mean, I
useful.
think
That's
it's
the definition,
somewhat interesting because some businesses in the neighborhood probably survive off nobody who lives in the actual neighborhood. Like Honey Badger, for example, on Fenimore. That's
Yeah.
a restaurant that
Yeah, they
doesn't
find out
cater.
it's right.
Yeah, they don't care about the neighborhood necessarily, or like
Yeah.
people coming to them. They survive off of people knowing about them. So maybe who's your target customer?
If we want to stay
or
away,
who's
who do you
your-
serve?
Or
Or
Who's
maybe
your
you could say
customer?
who's your target
There are
customer, if any. Maybe.
There is some overlap there with Honey Badger and CB9 because there are people who go to Kingfisher, which is our other,
Yeah,
Right.
which is gone now.
and we have those like kind of eclectic, small niche restaurants here
Yeah.
that most people don't think about every day. There's overlap there.
Oh yeah.
I think it's
have
still
no
useful.
idea what
Yeah.
you're talking about.
So should we say who's your customer?
That's
No,
Maybe just describe
the
the
customer's gonna be a
target-
CNI resident.
Not,
eventually.
I mean, but it could be
What
like
type
my
of
customer is
business
like
you
young
are.
and cool. My customer is like old and into
Right.
jazz. My customer is
I don't really-
That helps you. Now I'm thinking about
Yeah,
Barbados.
Yeah.
Into jazz.
Yeah.
That
I think
tells
that's
you.
a good question to ask.
It is.
all right. So who's your customer?
keep it general.
And
Yeah,
then,
and
you know,
then what are you selling?
the
Also?
biggest
And
challenge
then,
is
do we
price.
want to know biggest challenge?
Of course, it's a must.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, challenge.
That's a must.
Okay, so we got what's your name? What's your business? Where are you located? How long have you been in business? Who's your customer? And what's your biggest challenge?
Yeah.
Maybe we should write this on a
CNI.
board.
I think the
Yes.
last two should probably be the first two questions.
Okay.
And I will
I mean,
tell you,
after the, who are
that
you?
math on that number of questions,
I was
it will
between that.
yield a longer answer.
Yeah.
So depending upon how many actually register, this is why I was like, it's kind of challenging to ask the question that if they're entering the survey and they're registering it, we can actually poll it and average to see what the problems are and talk about it, or say, hey, this was based
Yeah.
on the registrations.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what it looks like.
Yeah.
and then maybe if someone has some insight, because that'll be they'll be at 10 minutes.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Or what if we wait for their biggest challenge?
Yeah,
You could have a dialogue afterwards. It's just who you are, where you from, who's your.
And then we could just open it up
And
to
then
like,
Yeah.
open it for
Yeah.
questions.
yeah, because they are survey.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good
Thing
idea.
as the thing, so you
Right.
technically can open it up to the dialogue
To
based on the
dialogue.
survey conversation. What are the top things or
Yeah,
something,
like
you
we
know?
saw from the survey that you guys are really concerned with the garbage
Right.
and safety.
Right. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that? We'd like to open up the,
And then afterwards, if there's more and we have time,
yeah,
then we go into but this, I think the time is gonna fly.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but just my concern about having people talk about their biggest challenge, because the chance you might not hear everyone's challenge.
Yeah, you definitely
People
not
talk a
gonna-
lot.
No.
So if you
Yeah.
care about
So
everyone's
wanna get
response,
at
have them
least-
Yeah.
write it down and answer it on the forum.
I mean, we
Yeah.
could run out of time just hearing from,
Yeah, open, yeah.
Without getting to the
Without
challenge
even
part.
consider-
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What, can you name the questions again?
So we
Maybe
got
can-
your business name, your location, how long you've been in business, and who's your customer.
And then
That's
what
the
your challenge?
beginning.
Worst case scenario, I think, if that list gets way longer, maybe the customer part goes off and we just need to get more answers. There's a follow-up
Do a follow-up.
email or something like
Yeah, I
that.
think they all.
So it could still be there,
Yeah.
but if that list gets,
So how long do we want to give for this? Because this is before the presenters. So an hour, 9:30 to 10:30.
I was gonna say 45 minutes.
You got 2 hours, right?
We have 2 hours total, but we're at
15,
9:30
15.
right now. The
Yeah.
beginning of this.
Yeah,
but the beginning of that, wait, hold on,
So
I'm
the
sorry.
section, so from 9 to 9:15 people arrive. From 9:20 to 9:30 CB9 introduces ourselves. From 9:30 until sometime that we decide, the businesses all introduce themselves, say their name, their location, how long, and who's their customer.
Listen, I
If
think,
we get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, if we get 50 people, say, and we give them 2 minutes each, that's 2 hours almost.
okay, so what I'm thinking is like very encounter with same problem. Maybe a rat, mouse, infestation, maybe security. So I feel like you were saying it's better to do like a survey kind of. Maybe they may have the same problems. So okay, if you give it 20 people 3 questions, like it's gonna be longer. If it goes one by one, I think it's better to go to
In 1 minute.
yeah, one
I mean, we
way.
could just say, give us your elevator pitch.
Yeah, so we
Like,
quick.
people should know, they're business owners, they should know what that means.
I don't think that's as,
Not everyone's good
I
at
don't
that.
know.
Not everyone's good at that.
Yeah.
Should.
Yeah.
And then
name,
name
shame,
location
location.
before the
No,
thing.
not
Yeah,
everyone's
yeah,
good at
yeah,
that.
Oh, yeah,
Or
that might
we
be
start dropping
nervous.
on them.
Yeah, name
Absolutely
location.
not.
I think that's,
Oh, no,
honestly, I
it's
think
not
that's
really
pretty good.
Yeah,
And
but
then
you
based
gotta
on
keep it
how
on
many,
side.
then we just
So
chop
let's hold
off.
back the biggest challenge for now,
Mhm.
and then say we'll give it 9:30 to 10:30, or
10, 15.
Mm.
I think it's gonna be 10,
15.
15.
Then
Yeah.
we do
Okay.
45 minutes.
Each presenter would be 15 minutes. You got 3,
Do we
right?
really need the
Well-
biggest challenge in there?
no, we're not
No,
putting
no,
that
because
in.
if we could pull it in elsewhere, then I
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just think it's such a negative way
Because
to
then-
end that off.
Because then what also
Yeah.
is
Like
like,
you wanna,
can we even
what's it
support,
target
like, you don't
audience?
even know if you can.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I think-
yeah, they get
I
help
think
on
the
it.
challenge is
You
the
never know
most
what they're
important
gonna
question to ask because everyone's here to potentially get help in some way, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And the only way to get help is to say what your challenge is.
yeah. It's a really fun
If we
game.
just talk about our target markets and our business name, it'll be a lot of talk, but maybe
Right.
not much action.
you got a good point, but I wouldn't end it with that.
There.
I don't
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, that's not what.
No, yeah, not to end it.
Because people
That's
remember,
a
like,
good
the
point.
last-
Is that
Always
question
remember
back
that
on the
shit.
I could just scan it.
But,
I mean, it's
No,
on
neither.
there. I'm pretty sure it's
think
on
even
I thought
after
that
the speakers speak, right? We
No,
should
How
give
much actually?
Oh.
some time
Is this
again
what, am I
for
already
again
new person
networking,
here?
right?
Yes.
Yeah, so we should end
that's it.
before 11.
Yeah.
So if we say we go 9:30 to 10:15 with the business intros, and
Really,
then
this is just the start of a conversation.
Exactly.
It's the first one, yeah.
It's one of many.
Right.
So,
So we
the
can
first one
say
introduction.
10:15 to 10:40 presenters,
Mm-hmm.
and then 10:40 to 11 mingle and leave.
Right.
Yes.
Each presenter gets-
6 minutes.
Okay.
5.
Five.
A minute.
Five.
Because you know they're
The
gonna.
grace.
5 minutes.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Yeah.
The grace you don't tell them about.
Yeah, the grace you don't tell them about.
Each. Do we have microphones?
Yep, I'm good.
And Dr. Elson's
You denied.
finger bananas for people.
Thanks for
Yeah,
coming.
hello,
Yeah, thanks for
banana.
coming. Yeah,
Great to meet you.
Thank you.
We're definitely
June
gonna.
20.
Sounds like it's
Yeah,
wonderful.
Yeah,
We might have, I will stay in touch with you.
Okay,
We
great.
got some name tags.
I mean, yeah, we like a lot of people that we picking up work with them.
Thank you.
Oh, the question
Okay,
on the
I'll be in
thing
touch.
is any
Okay.
feedback. That's what's on the
Oh.
survey. But I think that's it's
Yeah.
broad enough to.
Yeah. I think that we should mention,
Yeah.
Dante, how important it is to put in 311 complaints about things,
Yeah.
because I don't think people realize that they don't do it as much as they should.
Okay, I can definitely talk about that.
Yeah. And then if they really want something done, that they should follow up with you, because you're the way to get things done.
Appreciate
It's
that.
garbage removed, you're the guy.
I work hard. Thank you. All right, so I can definitely talk about that.
Okay, cool.
As people are coming in, do we want them to like sign in or something?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And include, it's kind of like what you have on your spreadsheet, like website, address and stuff, just to make sure we're all in sync. with
Is there any
it.
ability? Is there any like extra like a computer or something that they can like type in their stuff so we don't have illegible?
We got iPad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it won't be.
Yes.
My handwriting is well. I have to
Yeah,
really
no.
concentrate.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Okay,
It would be much better.
so we'll have a sign-in sheet, microphones. Can we bring that map?
That is attached to the wall.
Oh.
Do you have a cool big map that we could bring?
Can we just?
No, I mean, just print the one you got here and
Yeah,
put it
we
be more
can
colorful.
see
that.
Very nice.
Yeah, we could just bring that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is there any?
Thought if there was
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
cool, we could bring it.
Does she have a white wall projector? Where's that little projector?
We have a projector down
Yeah, but it needs to
Is
be
it how
dark.
big it's-
there. Yeah.
I don't know what's the setting like. You know, it takes
Right.
2
There's
seconds.
like a
to-
lot of windows in there. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Never mind then. Abort. Abort that.
Okay, the link NYC, and can we get that posted? And also, I was thinking that maybe the CB9 Facebook could post it onto the neighborhood Facebook pages. I mean,
And
I could
Instagram?
post it, but like, it's less official if I'm posting it versus if the CB9
Yeah.
account is
On the
posting it.
website, yeah.
Okay.
And then we could maybe share
Share
it
it,
that
yeah.
way. But I know there's like
If it's in the
a,
blast.
there's that neighborhood page, the Prospect Lefferts
Right.
Garden one
Crown
that
Heights
like
is not
so
just
many
Franklin
people are
Avenue.
on, huh?
Crown Heights is not just Franklin Avenue.
Oh,
Is that a Facebook page?
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I love that.
Drop it in the chat or so.
Yeah.
There might be some business.
Yeah, that's like a good
Yeah.
way to get people to see it.
Business, business owners.
I need to find that.
Crown Heights is not.
And then, I mean, I forgot to say that, I mean, the day before, you guys have, I mean, you have an event, right?
The community fairs on that
Yeah, I
Saturday.
mean, you can also
Oh,
talk to people for that.
and then we have our meeting that night, the night before the event, is that right?
June.
Third.
I feel like you can see,
Third?
invite more people.
No? So
I
we
thought that's
don't
what it
have
be.
enough meetings? another meeting?
I know we had tried to get
Yeah,
them
I'm just
ready
having mine.
before them.
Oh, this was the one that we tried to.
Figure out how.
Yeah,
can
but we
meet
said that we
before.
would do the 4th, so we could have our meeting, one more meeting before it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. The 3rd. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
When is that?
June 3rd will be the
the
community meeting.
last meeting before this event.
June 3rd.
Okay, so what do we have left to do?
Where are we getting the food from?
Okay, and then for the
Food?
food, and also for the setup, I really enjoy it. I mean, what time we coming to set up for the table? I mean, do we have a table or
8:30.
do you have some
Said
bass of
8:30.
flowers?
We can see if we can do 8, but I think
Huh?
that's what she wanted.
I mean, cause how much
Yeah, I guess.
setting up do we
Yeah.
have
Yeah,
to do?
I mean-
Yeah.
I would need to see the space, just
Yeah.
to make sure everything is,
Yeah.
the logistics are right.
I see the table, some flowers, some water, picture.
Right.
So like, make it nice and
Maybe we
cute.
can drop off like water and mics or something the day
Right.
before or something like that.
Yeah.
And also, Jeff, maybe we need some brochure from CB9 that we usually do,
Okay.
like a little stand,
Yeah.
some,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
So,
Okay, so we need to get food and we need to blast it on Facebook and the link NYC. What else do we need to do? We just need a flyer, yeah.
So I guess who already registered? Like what kind of
Oh, there's a list.
places?
So the computer place that like fixes stuff on Flatbush, Deo, which is a new bar restaurant, Hibiscus Brew, she's on Flatbush, Taqueria El Patron, yeah. I don't know who's Namaya.
Where we at?
Do we know on
Maybe it doesn't have a physical location.
The second
That's a
one?
possibility. Likely doesn't have. I imagine they don't have a physical location.
How do you guys not have that physical location?
do you guys know who gave them a flyer? Jeffrey
work from
Namaya
home,
or
or-
the Pro Heel Project? No? Nobody remember? Okay.
But I think it's important
Right.
to
Sounds-
include, because any business, because not everybody, one, needs a storefront, or two, can afford.
That's why they need.
Or they start
Exactly. You might be
digitally
starting
and then, I don't have a storefront, but I've been,
No, I've been giving flyers to people who don't have store friends.
yeah.
But I was just wondering if anybody remembered these first two people. No?
Mm-mm.
Cool.
Let's see.
I know
Well,
we
there's
said,
some, so that's good.
yeah, I know we said no, schools, but I feel like Kitty Science was a pretty strong community member, and she's a nonprofit, so I invited her.
So what is it? What is
Kitty
it?
Science, the last one, it's like a nonprofit kids science place, and the woman who owns it is pretty active. Does a
Oh.
lot of like community work.
I feel like that's like an exception to based
Yeah.
on what she.
Yeah, what she does.
And then interesting now that
Yeah, I was like thinking that she would be perfect to meet. Yeah, Jacques.
Right.
I probably have some people that I can invite too.
Yeah.
I know quite a few business owners.
Good.
Great.
I work for a few business owners.
Do you want a stack of flyers?
Sure. Yeah.
They got the other days, so.
And I already put a plug in for like, this is also
So I
the
just-
first event, we're trying to do different
Right.
times and
Yeah.
try to get as many people.
And first off, mayonnaise. So
Yeah.
it's just introduction.
And then there's a couple things like there's this app, like a community app. I don't know if y'all know about it. Maybe y'all could post it there. What's this thing called? Let me find it. Like I should be more active on it, but I know a lot of people, especially in the neighborhood, are on it.
Next door.
Yep,
That's
next
what I was
door.
thinking.
Is that an app or next door?
Yeah, next door.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so one called One Room too.
One roof.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what
Never heard that one.
It's right next door.
Could I post it, or is it something that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I will say, sure. Okay, I guess here's where I'm just gonna throw out stuff. I think we have to have the capacity question, because then it's like, okay, if you post and really share like specifically generally for CB9 or whatever, do the capacity, whatever, yada yada yada. Because I imagine, because it's a good lineup and it's community board, people would want to show up. So we may reach capacity if we post it on certain platforms.
I would say
Versus
like
like,
at least 40 people. 40 or so now.
oh, in this thing?
No, this is the way I've been there a few times.
Yeah, you can fit.
It
That's
has-
a good amount of
Oh,
people.
this
They-
place.
they-
Okay.
Yeah, they have maybe about like 8 benches,
Yeah.
bar
Yeah,
style
outside,
benches.
yeah.
Inside, I think
Yeah.
they might fit about 40, 60 or so.
Okay.
Outside, you
And
could probably fit
outside
about
another-
10, 20 more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, shoot me a
So I would say
picture.
about
Pretty
100
big.
maximum
Yeah, nice.
inside
Yeah.
and out.
Yeah.
But inside only, maybe what, 60?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if we got 60 people, that'd be awesome.
It'll be
I'll
fine.
I'll be like,
I would be shocked.
60 people,
I would be
10
shocked.
a.m.
I think
good.
at 20, it wouldn't seem empty. It
Yeah.
wouldn't seem sparse.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
Does it have to be all business owners?
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
it would make more
Well,
sense. Or prospective
Right,
business
I
owner in my
said
brain,
I
yeah.
was doing the owner or the manager.
I was
Right.
gonna think managers.
Yeah.
That's what I
Right.
was saying.
That
But
makes
like
sense.
one person from
Yes.
like a brick and mortar
Yes.
or. I don't think I think that we want to keep like-minded people, not people who haven't really started their business yet, because it's like, I don't know.
It's
Think
that's
people who've
relatable.
already established their business.
Yeah, like if
But
you
that could be
have
one of
some.
our themes.
Yeah,
another
but our
time.
next event could be like
New
a-
owners.
New owners, yeah,
Are you
totally.
thinking about starting a business?
It
Absolutely.
would be harder to reach those people to get the word out though, wouldn't it?
I mean, I think, well, yeah,
Yeah.
FBC, I
They're
can't
the same
remember.
thing, same.
I was gonna ask earlier, has there been anyone, or has there been any like potential effort to advertise it digitally? Like you tried to DM people, which worked out,
Mm-hmm.
right? For people who don't have a business, I mean, or those who do, maybe a quick cheap ad campaign somewhere could maybe help. People could, you know.
Well, we're
that's
gonna
what
put it
I
on
think
Link
so.
NYC.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
That
we're gonna
works.
blast it on Facebook.
That works.
So
And Instagram.
Yeah.
yeah, and Instagram. So I feel like
And I think the fact that, yeah, a lot of people already know specific groups to dump it in, it'll be very targeted.
I mean, we could
Yeah.
share it with the council people and the assembly member, and they could put it in their email blast if we want them to. Do we want to do
I
that?
think it's not a bad
I mean,
idea.
I see, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why not?
Alright. Awesome. Sure, we'll do it. We have tons of free events and stuff.
I think I might start with
Just give yourself a good amount of time, but not too long.
No, I won't be able to because I'm gonna try to get
I'm
them during
telling
the
you.
week. Yeah.
One block, one side of one block
Yeah,
a day. I'm telling you, it's too much.
Oh
It's
yeah.
too much.
people love to talk. I mean, I'm a store owner. You know how I feel? People come into my store and then trap me there and don't leave. I'm like, I literally have things to do. You gotta go. I
Yeah.
can't be rude though. So anyway, so it
Yeah.
goes
You
both
find out
ways.
So much. It's like
You find out
one
so
place,
much.
It was an outdoor space, and I'm like, this was here all the time.
Right.
No, people have great businesses that we don't even know about. Alright guys, is there anything else that we need to discuss before next month? We need to figure out, do we wanna do like half pastries, half bagels? Is that what we wanna do? All
Assortment.
pastries?
I think
No, I think half and half should be better.
Right?
Assortment, yeah.
The tastes
Yeah,
are
no,
different.
so I'd
Everybody
say
has
half and
different
half
tastes.
too, yeah.
Yeah, everybody got different tastes.
If you can get your hands on fruit
I'm
or
just
something
gonna
for
know.
people or
Okay.
something gluten
Okay.
intolerant or like
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
a
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I
good
I
ever
don't know.
told people
I
it's
don't know.
not, it might not be halal.
yeah.
Something that everything.
You got like, you got like
Pastries.
little cutie oranges and stuff, some
Yeah.
sort of fruit thing.
Do,
Okay.
do we know where we're gonna get that from?
No, what do you think? I was gonna ask Brooklyn Perk, since he's giving us the free coffee, if he would order pastries for us from his pastry provider, because it would probably be a lot cheaper
yeah,
than if we
yeah,
paid
yeah.
for it
Okay.
regular.
Oh yeah.
So I was thinking like,
Yeah.
could you get us $100 worth of pastries?
Yeah.
That's,
Right.
that's
Okay.
smart. That,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
And then we
Yeah,
can just be
mix.
like, I don't want to say sponsored, but that's not the word.
I was about
But
to say.
I know.
I think
What
Yeah.
word can we
Yeah, we
use?
should put like a sign up.
Yeah.
What's the
Yeah.
word that we can use?
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
I mean, it's a partnership, essentially.
I think before we end, we have to thank our partners.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Brooklyn Perk
Mm.
Yeah.
and Hans Stobel.
yeah.
Right.
Coffee.
And all the speakers and representatives.
Yeah, Dante.
Always.
You know what? Let me think about this.
We would need like cutlery and
Oh, yeah.
cups and stuff.
Let me see if they have it there.
So,
Yeah, because they serve like pretzels and
Oh, they have it.
Yeah.
stuff, so they
Yeah.
must have. Okay.
okay, so my question is like, at what time do we need to get there to set it up with friends? Like, you get at 7 a.m., 9, 8? Because I mean,
Wait, to what?
Yeah, just set up a place.
Oh,
Cause
no, she said
we don't have any people do that. For
we don't have access till what,
8:30.
8:30, she
They
said.
So we have
Oh,
to
you
be
only
here
have an hour and a half to
sharp
set it up?
Yeah,
Sure. No, no.
do it.
We can do
I
Half
think
an hour?
it's,
that one day.
we're not like decorating.
Yeah, we're not.
Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
decorating, we're just like putting some coffee out.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, because I'm gonna need to consume coffee
Yeah.
before I even, before I leave my house, like, to just get it in my,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, looks like we have
I
a
think-
plan.
Yeah,
And I think
we're
if
in
worse
good
comes to worse, you
shape.
could run to a store and
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
and, it shouldn't be too bad.
We'll be alright. I think if they agree to give food, like help with food, we can just add their logos to the digital flyer. So
Okay.
like, you know,
Oh,
Yeah,
give them a little something, something.
yeah.
Sounds good. A lot of people were like, what's that? Hudson Stubble. I'm like, this is exactly why we're doing this, guys, so you can meet each other.
I mean,
It's so
yes.
important.
It's so important.
That is.
I think they've been there for like 10 something years
There's
like
so many
that.
restaurants.
Really?
Yeah, I think for one,
Yeah,
I
it's
saw
crazy.
a
Yeah.
restaurant
It's
or
like,
bar.
I was telling my husband, like, we need to go to more of these restaurants. Like, we really have just a thick, the creme de, like, you know, it's
So
just-
many good places.
Like, I
yeah.
lived in, like, you know, nowhere, the middle of nowhere before. So it's like, we're
Where
really
is that?
spoiled.
Where is
Nowhere
the
in Delaware.
Nowhere.
I mean, you used to be
Nowhere,
that way.
Oh, it's not the
yeah,
middle of
3 years
nowhere,
ago.
but it's the middle of nowhere when,
really?
when you're
Yeah,
used to New York
yeah,
City.
even has like a
Oh,
bucket
yeah.
right now.
I just noticed
I had to
the
buy my
freeway
bus
as I
when I
was
was
trying to
at
get up
work.
out of New York driving something.
Not
I'm
even
like,
percent.
why
Yeah.
is this so
It's
difficult
bad.
to get out here?
Stupid.
What is this place doing?
I
I
don't
feel
even
that
know.
way every time I go to New
In the
Jersey.
neighborhood?
Am I getting
I've
lost?
been here
What is
for
happening?
2
Too
years.
many highways
Yeah,
converging.
Yeah.
But it was very different.
Okay, now I'm looking at
That's what I
it.
hear. Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah, and then I was so happy to have Dunkin' Donuts.
So,
No,
will you guys
Yeah.
yeah,
introduce yourself?
it changed a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah?
Frankly,
From
it's
9:15
different.
I
to
love offering.
9:30.
yeah,
So I would be able to too?
yeah.
Cool. What industry are you guys in?
I own a gift shop called Awesome Brooklyn on Flatbush Ave.
That's you?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I've been there.
Oh, cool.
I love that shop. You have 2 of them.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
Thanks.
I love
That's
Awesome
the best
Brooklyn.
reaction ever.
No, I'm so excited. Wow, you own Awesome Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Did you get the candles? Did you get the candles?
I just like,
Okay, those are good.
yeah. They have so much cute stuff
Yeah,
there.
it's cute.
Well, you have so much
Thanks.
cute stuff there. How long have you been open?
Almost 7 years.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yep. I'm
Yep,
about to-
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I'm about to close my little store and bring it into the bigger store because the rent is
Yeah.
2 stores.
I got a bunch of like little gifts for
Yeah.
my employees, like
Nice.
for Christmas. So they always cute.
Cool.
I still got the pictures and
Appreciate it.
everything. I'm my business is called Houndbound NYC. So I'm pet care, dog walking, house sitting,
Okay.
stuff like that.
Hound.
I'm a small team.
Hound.
Houndbound.
Houndbound.
NYC, yeah.
Cool.
Do you have a storefront or are you digital mostly?
No
You go to-
storefront. Way too expensive. Eventually, someday.
that's why you.
Yes, I'm about to.
Yeah.
But fortunately, like we don't need it. So
Houndbound NYC.
yeah, I do want to do other stuff like grooming and things like that. That'll require a storefront.
Nice.
Good to know. Now I have a
It's
dog in
scary
my life,
because like
so-
businesses open and close so much around
I know.
here, just because they can't like afford the rent. It's
I
like
know.
ah.
That's
I
what we want
think
to
they also
avoid.
don't plan out.
That's what we wanted to avoid. People,
Very well before they open
having
a
to
lot
close
of them.
those
So,
Yeah.
rapidly.
It's a rapid.
Maybe,
We want
yeah.
longevity for the businesses.
So
Traffic is rough.
Yeah.
how about you?
Access to.
Oh, me?
Brands.
So I've been in like corporate retail for about 17 years, working for a lot of different people, but now I'm just like consulting, but I'm trying to pivot. I am pivoting to owning a startup, a tech startup that's focused on really like mitigating the zip code determining outcomes. That's like our mission.
Zip
Working
code
on
determining outcomes.
Mitigating, eliminating it from, so we're scaling mentorship, helping people, like a lot of the stuff he was talking about, like that's really what I wanna, and I've noticed it's very difficult in government to navigate that stuff, because I've even been in a political party, started a political party, I've done a lot of random things, and yeah, so there's that. So I'm just getting away from the retail stuff, so that's why I'm like, I don't have time.
Nice. So,
I do not own a business.
Me neither.
I am a shopper. I am a consumer. But I like nice shops, and I don't see that.
Yeah,
I want, the neighborhood to have really nice things.
Me too.
Two,
See, everyone's like,
three,
yes.
5, and like.
Oh yeah. I mean, I definitely patronized, especially during the pandemic. I definitely was intentionally shopping and partaking in Black Home. I still do. I've been converting or small business, local, like that kind of stuff is like a tier.
Yeah.
So I do think like the economic development, like and the wealth, bridging the wealth gap
Yeah,
comes